Hey guys, it's Max here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about how content plays a much larger role in your outreach efforts than you probably think, and how you can actually use content to 10x your outbound efforts. So, the first point that I wanted to talk about is something that I've discussed quite a lot on this channel is understanding your exact target audience. So, if you're already doing any sort of outreach, you should know exactly who you're selling to. Therefore, you should understand your target audience already. So, it's extremely important to know their pain points, their fears, desires, frustrations, the exact sub niche if you have one, their revenue level, their employees, what title they have, because ultimately, if you're producing content, it helps so much to know exactly who you're helping. That way, you can know if you do produce a bit of content that this is actually going to specifically give them value. So, knowing this is going to enable you to tailor your content to this specific person. So it's going to have the maximum impact. Because if you don't know who exactly that you're producing the content for, then you'll end up producing content in a variety of different verticals. It's never really going to hit home for those people watching because they're just going to see a bunch of different variation in what you produce. So yeah, understand who you're producing it for and then really dial down that content for a specific target market. The next point that I wanted to talk about was producing stuff at high quality. So obviously this isn't as important when you get started because I genuinely believe when you get started in content production, it's extremely important just to get over the fear of posting initially if you have that fear and just start posting consistently. It doesn't have to be the highest quality content because that can obviously act as a bit of a procrastination method. If you think everything has to be high quality, it could stop you from producing anything at all. But I definitely would. That's not to take away from what I think of putting actual time into your content and making it as valuable as possible, as informative and engaging as possible. So you want to have various forms of content. It really depends where your target market is. So, for example, maybe your target market, listens to podcasts. So you could use podcast as a specific vertical. It really depends, but as a rule of thumb, you want to make your content as engaging, as valuable, and informative as possible. In basically, the more that your content can help the person, the more that it's going to benefit you. So you give what you get essentially when you produce content. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is obviously leveraging social media. So if you're doing outreach on these social media platforms, especially, so for example, if you're doing outbound on LinkedIn, if you're messaging on LinkedIn, obviously it's going to help you so much to have an optimized profile. Let's say someone reaches out to you, they have an offer in their bio, they have about 3 connections, they don't have a banner, they have no description, they have no content on their page, they have no testimonials. Are you going to trust that person? Probably not. It seems like they're selling you something, they don't really care. It really gives off the illusion that if this is the way they treat their personal brand, how are they going to treat your business when they offer their service? So if you are doing outreach on social media platforms, make sure your profiles are optimized. It helps so much to have content on there, and it's going to snowball the outreach if you are doing it on those platforms. So there's multiple strategies you can use for landing clients on social media, but the main thing is having an optimized profile, because as much as you can say, oh, the content doesn't matter, if you're not positioning yourself as an authority on these platforms, you're not going to look like one, and people are always going to take your messages and your claims with a pinch of salt. The next thing, which I really don't see talked about that often in content, is guest posting and collaborations. So it's so beneficial to interview people in your niche, to talk to people that talk to ideal customers. Maybe if you have clients, you can interview them. You can use that as sales assets. But essentially, you can collaborate with people in your niche, your clients, or other businesses to really amplify your reach. Because, for example, let's say I have 100 subscribers on YouTube, and I collaborate with another YouTuber who has 150 subscribers. We can essentially merge together, create content, and take some of each other's audiences, allowing us to both grow. So it's really important to speak to other people in the space, gain some ideas from them. It's going to help you massively as well, not just in growth, but in terms of your paradigm and the way you perceive things about business. So always keep that in mind. Always think about how you could potentially collaborate with other people, existing clients, potential clients, people in your niche, people that are doing something similar to you. So always keep that in mind. You'll notice that the bigger influencers and the bigger YouTubers, the bigger people in this SMMA space are doing this literally all the time. They all know each other, they're all networking. That's how they're ahead of everyone else. That's one of the main reasons. So the next thing is email marketing and newsletters. So this is extremely important. Email marketing, obviously, you've probably heard the famous saying of for every $1 in the average return is $36. So make sure you have an email newsletter. It literally can be as simple as just promoting your YouTube videos through these email newsletters. On average, it does take a long time to consistently build this up and to get eyeballs on there, but yeah, it's really important. You don't have to have a specific opt-in. What you can do, for example, if you're booking meetings, is every time you book a meeting with a customer, with a prospect, you can take their email and you can add it to the email list. So you know that they have a registered interest in your service, or in what you do, or in your service, what you do, etc. So you know there's interest there. So you can literally just add their email to your email list, and then you have another subscriber, and obviously they can unsubscribe if they don't want to. The next thing that I want to talk about is analyzing and measuring results in content. So there's some key variables to take into account when you're producing content, but honestly, you don't want to get too caught up on this, because if you've just started off producing content, if you don't have a huge personal brand, a little hack to use, which I saw Alex Hormozi say, is, for example, if your post got, let's say, if you post on LinkedIn and you can see the amount of impressions it's got, and it got 70 impressions, your initial thought may be, oh, it's not very good, it's just 70 views. Then actually imagine 70, if you've got a network of all your ideal prospects on LinkedIn, imagine 70 of your ideal prospects in a room all seeing this bit of value that you've given to them. Like, genuinely, that is how much leverage this stuff has. Now imagine your next post does a little bit better and you have 150 impressions. 150 of your ideal prospect seeing a bit of value that you're giving to them, and ideally getting help from the content that you've produced. Isn't that insane? I think that's genuinely ridiculous. That is that easy. That's how much leverage this stuff has. And this is why it works so well alongside outreach, because people can actually see that you're human. People can see that you care about their idea, about their market, about what they do. But it's another reason why I think content is going to overtake outreach at some point. Outreach will always be effective. Outreach will always be a method to get results. But the way content is going, I genuinely think that it has the capacity to dwarf outreach in terms of effectiveness, just because of the leverage that I just talked about. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can post one bit of content and you can get thousands and thousands of your ideal prospects to see it. It's ridiculous. Repurposing content. So you don't always have to create new bits of content from scratch. You can take existing bits of content you can change that around, and you can post on different platforms. For example, you can chop up YouTube videos into YouTube Shorts, podcasts into Shorts, like I'm sure you've seen on TikTok, Instagram, etc. There's a variety of different ways to repurpose content. So don't think that you need to create something absolutely original every time. You can also take inspiration from other people. The next thing is staying consistent. Now, this is probably the most important thing about all of content. Keeping it valuable and keeping it consistent are the two main important things, I'd say. So producing consistent quality content is gonna get you so far. So you can essentially just stick to a content schedule ahead of everyone, just being consistent. How many people just produce one bit of content off on a whim and then don't actually stick to any sort of schedule? So integrate it into your calendar, stick to that schedule, and produce content. So the way this works with outreach, and the way this will 10x your outreach, is if you're reaching out to a prospect, they're going to take your name, they're going to plug it into Google, they're going to check out your social profiles. If they can see that you've got a good amount of followers, you're posting stuff consistently, you're consistently adding value to the market, they're going to perceive you as an industry leader. They're going to immediately think you know what you're talking about, that you can deliver on your said claim, and you can actually impact their business, do what you want. So yeah, that's everything. If you are an agency owner that's making above $50,000 a month, who has existing case studies, happy clients, and are prioritizing growth in the next few months, you can book a call in directly with me in the link below. Don't worry, there's no pictures on the first call. We'll literally just go through who you are, what you actually want, and I'll just give you anything valuable that I think can take you to that next level, and then we can book in a second call if need be. If you're below 50k a month, there's a link below where you can book in a call with me and discuss anything related to acquisition, lead generation, content, anything SMMA related. And yeah, that's absolutely everything. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day. Thank you.